Hi everyone, and welcome to a quick video review of the Modfans P36-2 upgrade kit for Infinite Transformations IT-01 Megatron. This is hopefully going to be fairly short. I intended it to be an unboxing, but it was actually a present I got for Father's Day, so I had to open it on the day, obviously. And more on that in a second, because it wasn't quite what I was expecting, I'll say that. But I picked this kit up because, or rather, it was given as a gift from my boy's mum, because I recently managed to get hold of an IT-01 Megs on eBay in a Buy It Now auction. I wasn't even looking for it, it just popped up in my items you may be interested in feed, and it was 46 quid delivered. And I've been looking for one for a while because I preferred the sort of more G1 accurate paint scheme. I find that the MP36 is a little bit too sort of metallic and dark, so this to my eyes looks a lot more like the Toon Megs. Plus I'd heard good things about the figure anyway. I mean, my masterpiece, my official masterpiece Megatron, has a number of QC issues, paint scuffs, dents on one of the faces, a completely warped right shoulder panel. There are a few other bits and pieces, like really tight joints and panels in general. So I'd heard really good things about this figure. Thought for 46 quid I could not really go wrong. The seller was pretty honest. He said there were a couple of bits missing. The original, or the initial run of this figure, came with 2 fusion cannons and a back panel and 2 additional Kremzik over and above the one that came in the box. So he'd lost 2 of the Kremzik, and he said the Chinese or Japanese, whatever it is, fusion cannon, he wasn't sure, but it did include the English one, which is what I really wanted, and I wasn't really bothered about the Kremzik anyway. So then it arrived, and actually the Kremzik I got was a blue one, which is fine. I would have liked the yellow, so it was more like the Kremzik Prime of the episode of the same name. But it had the Japanese cannon, not the English one. Now that I was a bit gutted about. So that was why this add-on kit seemed perfect for me. There were 2 versions of the kit. There was a Chinese English one and a fully English one. Now the Chinese English one is or features a red LED. I don't think it's actually an LED. I think it's just a piece of red plastic in the end of the barrel, whereas the English one has the more Toon accurate purple, and the Chinese one has, I think, 6 voice clips in English and 6 in Chinese, whereas the English one has 11 English voice clips, culled from different sources, I think. Some from the movie and some from other bits. I forget off the top of my head, I'm afraid. But anyway, yeah, Father's Day was coming up. Didn't really know what I wanted. Happened to kind of mention that I'd got this, and yeah, lo and behold, this is what I got for Father's Day. But let's just take a look at the package. You can see what it includes here. You know, the cannon itself, a back panel and 2 Kremzik. But in true Chinese seller fashion, they managed to send me the wrong one. So I'll just open it up a moment. And you can see in the clamshell all the bits, the cannon, the back panel and the Kremzik. As I say, I got 2 more Kremzik, another blue one and a purple one, so still don't have the yellow one. Let's just pop that to one side and have a quick look before I go into detail on the cannon, which is the main bit. Just have a quick look at some of the other stuff. The back panel is the first thing. Ooh, dropped it there. This is a bit of a strange inclusion in my mind, because as far as I'm aware, every version of the IT figures come with this back panel, so the first and second issues. I don't know why they included another one. I guess because they already had the mould, and maybe you could argue that it's a spare if you ever lose the panel, because it's, you know, it's not an integral part of the figure. It is a bit of an add-on piece. So I guess it's good as a spare, but yeah, I don't imagine it really drove the cost of the setup. You know, it's quite thin plastic. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine for a spare, but I've already got it. It's attached to the back of my figure. It doesn't fit MP36. Because the connectors are slightly different on the back of IT to the official. You have to snip bits off, and anyway, I've got a back panel for MP36 now that came with the Soundwave upgrade kit I reviewed recently, so I don't need that for this reason. I'll put that to one side. Let's just take a quick look at the Kremzik. Oh, if I can get the other one out of the box. So yeah, they're okay. I mean, they're not terribly impressive. They don't feel quite as sturdy as the one that came with the IT figure. As I say, I got a blue one with the figure, and that one's a little bit, well, the materials just feel a little bit more solid. These are quite spongy. They're almost like gummy bears. They don't look as good. But I mean, for what they are, they're just a little, you know, a nice little nod to a G1 episode. They're a gimmick at the end of the day. You know, they're not something I'd have paid money for, but quite nice to have in the set. I mean, the set was bought primarily for the Canon, and the back panel and the Kremzik are just, you know, a bonus. So let's put these little guys back there for a moment. I mean, I would have liked to have got a yellow one, so I had the full set. That would have been great. But although the adverts I've seen have said that the colour is random, I don't think I know of anyone who got a yellow one. Prove me wrong in the comments if you like. But yeah, they're okay for what they are. But the main sort of selling feature was the Canon itself, and it's pretty much identical visually to the Canon that comes with IT-01. Sort of the colour, the moulded details, the same. You might notice though that, I don't know if it shows up terribly well on the camera, but the peg on there, the switch on there, is actually more of a purple colour, and indeed the plastic in the barrel looks purple as well. On this one, the switch is red and the plastic is red. So that switch, the second I opened it, that was my first visual cue that something wasn't right. And indeed, when I tried it, I could see that it was a red LED or blast effect or whatever you want to call it. And that's how I knew it was the wrong one before I even played the clips, sorry. But anyway, before I go on to the sound effects and the light effects, the Canon extends the same way that the IT-01 and the official MP36 Canons extend. As with the IT-01, the difference here is that it doesn't extend as far as MP36. The scope on MP36, you might be able to see the moulded detail there, and how it stops halfway through the second part of that moulded detail. On the official one, both of those indents are visible, and it adds probably that much length to the Canon. So the official MP36 Canon, while also being a slightly different colour, is ever so slightly longer in scope mode. You know, so MP36 has got bragging rights about size, I'm afraid, but you know, I'm never going to have it in that mode. I know some people do display their figure with the Canon extended, and it drives me insane. It's supposed to look like that. That's how it will remain. If I ever want to use the scope feature, I'll use MP36's Canon. So let's go on to the actual audio effects themselves. Now, as I said, this was supposed to be the English Canon, and it turned out to be the stock Canon, which has got Japanese audio on it. The first notch on the back, this has 3 notches on it. This one has 4 positions for the audio clips, but we'll try out the first one on this. So this is the transformation sound, I believe. and back. There you go. Now let's listen to that on the Modfans cannon. Now I don't know if you could hear that, but the sound was clipped at the very end of both of those effects. It's more noticeable on the first one, so I'll do it again. If you listen to the IT cannon and then the Modfans cannon, that one clips quite badly. It's actually quite noticeable. The second clip, it's quite smooth on the IT cannon, but on the Modfans, even the second one is quite harsh at the end. Not as bad as the first transformation sound, but it's a bit sloppy, to be honest. They've obviously cut the sample off too early, very obviously so on the first transformation sound. So the IT cannon wins that round. It's definitely got better sound. And I think actually overall, although it's not as loud, the sound quality of the IT cannon is superior to the Modfans cannon, and that becomes more evident as you go through the voice clips and that, but we'll hear that in a second. Now, as I say, this isn't the one that I ordered or was ordered for me. That was supposed to be the English one. This is the English-Chinese hybrid. So what we'll do is we'll get the Chinese voice clips out of the way, because the vast majority of people listening to this or watching this video aren't going to be interested in that. So I think there are 6 Chinese clips, so I'll just go through those in order. I think that was all 6. Yeah, so we're back around to the beginning. Yeah, I mean, I don't speak Mandarin, and the quality isn't that great either, so I'm never really going to be using that. I just wanted to play it for the sake of, you know, thoroughness. So let's compare the Japanese audio clips on the IT cannon to the English audio clips on the Modfans cannon. So I'll go through them again. I think there are 6 on this one as well, and I'm pretty sure they're the same as the Takara one, but we'll just go through them quickly. Oh, would help if I actually swapped it. Sorry about that. There we go. And back around, I think. Oh no, there are more. Alright, yes, there are actually more than 6 clips on there. I think the quality is actually pretty good. They're not very loud, but they're quite clear. Certainly more so than the Chinese clips. The speaker in this cannon's a lot harsher, it's tinnier, it's scratchier. But I think that comes into, or comes to the fore more with the English clips. Because obviously I'm more familiar with Frank Welker's voice, so if we just listen to these, you'll probably see what I mean. Yeah, there we go, we're back around again. Now, not terrible, but not great. The overall quality is, as I say, inferior, I think, to the IT cannon. It's louder, that's for sure, but it's not necessarily better because it's louder. It's quite tinny and scratchy. Now, I don't think the clips are too bad, but it doesn't include a lot of the iconic movie quotes and even some of the more memorable quotes from the series. I think it's okay, but the English version has, I believe, 11 or more sound clips, and they're culled from a different, higher quality source. So it would have 2 positions for English audio instead of just the one, with the second position being for Chinese audio. I'm trying not to dwell on it, but it is a bit annoying considering that was the one I was after. But, you know, really I didn't go for this because of the transformation or the voice clips, really. It was mainly because of the G1 accuracy of the Canon sound, which we're going to go on to now. So if I flick this down to the last position, position 4, and put this onto position 3, we'll just compare the audio for the Canon sound, because this is where the Modfans one comes into its own in my mind. Now, this is the sound that the IT Canon and the official MP36 have. It's not terrible. It's perfectly fine sounding laser or blaster, whatever you want to call it, but it's not, you know, Megatron's got such an iconic Canon noise that it was very jarring when I first heard it. I don't know if it's the noise they use in the Japanese versions of the show, but if not, I don't really understand why they changed it. Thankfully, the Modfans Canon has the original audio, and it's not bad. I mean, see what you think. Again, it's a bit tinny and harsh, but I can't help but sort of have a bit of a smile on my face whenever I hear that. Megatron and Optimus Prime's weapons have got such iconic audio that this kind of pew pew laser sound, while fine, and if I had heard it in isolation and I wasn't familiar with the G1 sound, it's just not a substitute for hearing. I mean, that's just so show accurate. I love it, and that was the reason I wanted the kit. And the reason I wanted the English one especially was because it's supposed to come with a purple LED stroke filter. So when you press the Canon, you get both that and the show accurate purple blast. But as you can see, I've got the red one because this is the Chinese version, or English Chinese hybrid version. And yeah, it's quite an anemic red. That's the best way of describing it. It's not a very vibrant red at all. It probably looks better on this camera than it actually does in person because of the light in the barrel. But yeah, I don't know if I can do it against my hand. You can see it's, yeah, I mean, it doesn't even really register. It just gets washed out by the light. Whereas if I bring IT in, oddly enough, even though, as you can see, the IT looks like it's got a purple filter in there, and it has certainly purple on the back, or magenta, whatever you want to call it. When you actually fire the Canon, it's very obviously red, and a much brighter, stronger red as well. Like if I were to sort of try and fire that at my arm, or my hand again, I think possibly, yeah, look, you can even see that against my hand with the light on, which, you know, just goes to show how weak the other one is. Try that again, you'll notice that, yeah, there's a tiny flicker, but yeah, it's not great. I'm not going to pretend I'm not disappointed. I am, but yeah, I'll get over it. It's still a much nicer sounding Canon noise. It's G1 accurate, and that's really why I wanted the kit. I have actually I've tracked down, it was difficult, but I've tracked down one of the last remaining English versions that I could find online. It was a little bit more expensive than this. I think this kit was just over £13 delivered from China. The other one is coming from Show Z, or Show Z, however you want to pronounce it, and it was, yeah, £20 odd, I think. So it's a little bit more than I would have liked to have paid, but I really just want to compare the two. And I got this version of Megatron because I really wanted the G1 show accurate Megs to go with my IT-01 Optimus Prime, and as part of that, I'd love it if it had the purple fusion cannon with the proper sound. So I've gone all in on it, and I've just spent the money, and I'll do a quick comparison video when it arrives, assuming it does arrive and assuming it actually is the right one. But I've got more faith in a store like that than I do in some random eBay seller who I'm assuming didn't really do a particularly accurate description and didn't mean to write choice of English or Chinese cannons, but meant to write it has English and Chinese on the cannon. And that's why they've since changed the description. So, yeah. Anyway, I digress. I think, is it worth the money? I think for £13, if you're looking for a cannon for either this figure or MP36, say you don't have the second cannon for it, and you're not really bothered about the laser, the colour of the blast itself, or the voice clips, but you do kind of fancy having the G1 accurate sound, the fusion cannon sound, it's worth it for the money, I suppose. It's quite a cheap add-on. You get a couple of Kremzik as an additional bonus and a spare back panel that you could always appropriate for MP36 with a bit of work. It's slightly tarnished for me because it's not what I was expecting, and the fact that it was a gift, obviously it's got a special place, but I think it took the shine off that it wasn't what my little boy thought he was giving me. And obviously I didn't let on to him that it wasn't the right thing, but it annoyed me that the seller got it wrong, to be honest. Anyway, I still think it's worth a punt if you're looking for an add-on kit. If you don't like the sort of pew pew sound that you get with either this or MP36, the colour won't be an exact match for MP36, but it's close enough. So it's a worthwhile investment if you're after that. As I say, I'm going to do a quick update when I get the purple version of the cannon, so you can do a compare and contrast then. But yeah, for now I'd say this is the more readily available of the two. If you can even find the English version, you're going to be paying a lot more. There are quite a few listings for this on eBay still, and on various other sites, so you should be able to pick it up relatively easily. And yeah, I mean, if you're after a bit of G1 fusion cannon action, you could do a lot worse than to get hold of this. So until I get the kit and do the follow-up video, take care everyone, and have fun, and yeah, I'll speak to you all again soon.